Here's an email from C. Davis. Do you have any Halloween adventures you can share with your fans? Wait, is it Halloween again? Hold on for just 1 second. How do you like my decorations? It took me literally weeks to accumulate this much cobweb. Okay, listen. I gotta level with you. I'm a total blunder when it comes to Halloween. My heart just isn't in it. I run around in a costume, with a mask, 364 days out of the year. So it's my prerogative that every year when Halloween rolls around, I just sit in my parlor with a piping hot glass of Gordy's gosh darn chocolate milk mix. The chocolate-flavored beverage that I'd enjoy even if I weren't paid to heavily endorse it. It's a quirk of mine that upsets so many of my friends and loved ones, especially my wife, who is crazy about the holiday and always has some soiree to go to, even though we live in London and the folks here could either take it or leave it. But good relationships are built on compromise, so she happily takes to a night on the town and leaves me to have a nice quiet evening alone. And for the most part, everything works out just fine. But there was this one Halloween. Once upon 11:30, as I sat in robe and derby, clipping many funny comics out of newspapers galore, as I snickered, nearly stitched, far from evenings left bewitched, sipping of my cocoa, of which I had several more, just about 2 quarts of Gordy's you can find at your local store. Clearly I felt sober in these days of late October, though every man of Dover scared themselves out of their brains. I remain distinct upon a mound of printed ink, though a pang of conscience points me towards my Mary Jane, by herself amongst the weirdos, my dear sweet Mary Jane. Though I cannot go to meet her, still in my robe so plain. I really should invest in a pair of pajama bottoms. Suddenly there came a knocking, hours passed when men less shocking, or salesmen with wares come hawking at my parlor door. Surely at this hour scant they'd know I was without my pant, and so I did feel so askant at their solicitation 'pon my door. "Come back when I'm dressed," came my answer toward the door. "Who's that knocking at my door? Who's that knocking at my door?" I came to learn this deathly loomer won't appreciate my sense of humor, instead to knock with greater doomer upon my parlor door. "I doth protest," I said in fury, "this is not a case for judge and jury. Return upon a finer hour, I'd best suggest be after 4. Return then, but for now you must leave my door." Somewhere amidst my furious pleas, there soon became a sudden breeze, from windows billowed open just above my second floor. An owl, of many of London's seizes, sought to fly in from the breezes, and sit upon a bust of Lewis just above my window pane. On a bust of Jerry Lewis sit upon my window pane. That's all it is, that much is plain. "Oh, look at the little birdie, it's so nice." "My dear owl," I asked it plainly, "would you kindly entertain me about the plot of the stranger knocking 'pon my door? You must forgive, for I am wary to be exposed sans underweary. So you see you mustn't tarry, describe this person at my door." Quoth the owl, "Woo." The guy at the door, "Woo." The guy knocking at the door, "Woo." The guy putting his fist on the door and hitting it real loud, "Woo." The guy who was standing at the front door and... oh, never mind. You know, I sort of miss the days when my life was action-packed and only slightly tongue-in-cheek. Now I can't answer my own front door without it becoming some sort of old comedy routine. And who writes this junk anyway? All I wanted was a quiet Halloween to myself, and furthermore, I don't know what C. Davis was looking for when he emailed me, but he had to deserve better than this. Anyway, back to the poem. Once again that dreadful knocking brought itself to overclocking. Its dreadful din proceed to mocking my dominion on my parlor door. I say there's no need for such a squawking. We're capable of pleasant talking, making certain you are not mocking my need to be askance. Just hold on a second, and I'll go get my pants. At last I heard the sound of rending, a glint of silver slowly bending, rending, unending upon the side of my parlor door. "Alack!" I shrieked uncertain. "Surely this stranger intends to be hurtin'. to bring that saw upon my bare skull once it's done chewing on my door. There I sob just as a ninny, overcome with ignominy, that this may be my last day on earth I do implore, that this hero, Scarlet Derby, may be murdered by some Herbie, whose venal fingers find me scurvy without pants upon my floor. Thaddeus, the voice did chipper, once my door had reached its dipper. The figure stood with saw in hand, my shocked person on the pine. She looked down with concern, but with a look that surely burned. My dear sweet Mary Jane in Halloween gown so divine. I just came home from the ball, and wouldn't you know it all, I left my key upon the windowsill upstairs right next to Jerry. Ow, lady! I tried to knock to hear your answer, but when I heard your voice askance, I knew I had to advance and sawed off the parlor door. Overjoyed to find my lady, instead of someone shady, I reached out to hug her next to the exposed parlor door. But she fell short of affection, and I felt a large rejection, knowing I'd soon spend the next few moments boarding up our busted door. There I was to be in the doghouse forevermore. Well, Davis, that's my Halloween story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm happy everything turned out okay in the end, and I'm looking forward to many peaceful Halloweens from this day forward. Oh, we have a caller. Hello? You've got the Scarlet Derby. Woo. The Scarlet Derby, I'm a superhero. Woo. I've got a few books out and I have a series on YouTube. Woo. I run this radio station out of my basement. Woo. Well, this is getting a bit personal, but I'm a Sagittarius and my favorite food is coleslaw. Woo. Well, me, the Scarlet Derby. Woo. I'm a superhero and I have a series on YouTube. Woo. I run this radio station out of my basement and I answer calls and I also answer emails. Woo. Well, me, of course, the Scarlet Derby. I don't know how many times I have to tell you this. You're starting to sound like an owl. Woo. You sound like an owl. Woo.